All right, today I'm here to talk a little bit about opacity. Now, opacity is what is or how transparent an object is. And in your collage, you're going to have to use opacity in some way, shape, or form. But you don't just use it to use it, you need to use it for a reason. So let's talk about a couple things about first off, where is opacity? So if I pick my gentleman down in here, one of the ways to do opacity is actually over here on your layers. It'll say the opacity, and right now it's at 100%. So obviously, one of the easy ways to do it is if you click on the little slider, and you'll notice the gentleman gets lighter and lighter and lighter. That is one of the easy ways to do opacity. So in this case, I've got my gentleman sitting over here, and as I make him bigger and bigger and bigger, all right, and maybe I'm going to move him off to the side here. Now remember, when you're doing figures or anything that is awkwardly cut off, you do not want to see the awkward cut off. So we're going to hide him over here. But maybe I don't want this Lamborghini logo because right now it's like just so bright. It's just sitting there, and it's like maybe I don't want it as bright as it's going to be because it distracts from my gentleman over here. So I'm going to go to the Lamborghini logo, and I don't want it to be as distracting. So I'm going to drop it down by 25%. All right, it is now it's not as bright. Maybe I'll drop it even more to the 60s, and now you can clearly see it is a little more opaque. We can see the really cool background shooting through it, and it is not taking away from my gentleman over here. Now, another way, that's one way to use opacity, just using opacity on a layer. Now, another way to use opacity is also pretty simple, is kind of like this. So say, let's take our emblem back up to 100% over here. All right. So we'll take the emblem back up to 100%. We're going to drop the emblem down here, and we're going to take our guy here. Now, maybe I want my gentleman to like fade into the emblem a little bit. And again, I'm just using this as a demonstration. So maybe I want him to fade a little bit. Another way to use opacity is using the eraser tool. Now, the eraser tool is over here. And right now it is set to a hard brush. All right. And it is 100% opacity. So if I come over here and I go to do this, you're going to see on my gentleman that I'm literally just like going to erase him. All right. And that's not, again, that's also not a good use of opacity. If I want him to fade or do something lighter, like he fades into this thing here, I'm going to come up to the brush, and I'm going to do a soft brush. And again, I'm going to change my opacity down to 50% on the brush, and that's going to make it seem like I'm just going to erase a little bit at a time. So as you can see here, I can lightly erase, and it's not fully erasing. All right. And now he just kind of fades away into, all right, it is not such a hard cut. So you can use opacity in one of two ways. You can use it to take down the whole entire layer, that's over here, and you can also use opacity with the eraser tool and to use to make things object fade and appear like they have some sort of special effect. If I turn off my gentleman here, you can see I used it on this Lamborghini, and it kind of gave this really cool scratchy effect. So there are many ways to use opacity, one being with the eraser and the other one being with the layer.